Hey, so I have a friend called Chris who asked me to explain to her the meaning of dharma and karma. So in this video I'm gonna go take a walk to the little park here back in Paris, actually in Meaux, outside of Paris on the north, and talk briefly about what the word karma means. French buildings are cute and all, but they're really kind of narrow a lot and old and, you know. If you're interested in Eastern philosophy, Indian philosophy, spirituality related to yoga, if you believe in karma, if you believe that consciousness is irreducible, then please do subscribe because there aren't that many channels like this, and click the subscribe and notification button, etc. So like I was saying, I have this friend Chris who asked me like, what's karma? Explain it to me. And what I want to do is give you the Bhagavad Gita explanation of what karma is. Now Bhagavad Gita, for those who don't know, is the book that I often, if not always, refer to on this channel. The Bhagavad Gita is considered to be the quote-unquote Bible of Hinduism, Bible of India, the book that Mahatma Gandhi always walked around with, supposedly the most important text of the family of the Upanishads, or the ancient, Sanskrit text called the Vedas. The Bhagavad Gita is really the most famous, important text, and personally it's a book that's been with me for the last 27 years, that I've read daily, and that's completely transformed my life since 1993. So if you don't have a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, I highly recommend you do. Now, what is karma? We often hear like, yeah, karma, action-reaction principle. And so what I want to read to you is just one sentence spoken by Krishna himself, the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita, wherein he himself defines what karma is, okay? Chapter 8, verse 3, he says, creation that generates a being's state of being. Vous voulez dire bonjour à la caméra? A creation that generates a being's state of being is termed karma. So let's put it the other way. Karma means the creation of what? The creation that generates a being's state of being. So what does that mean? That means that whatever you do has a reaction, right? Good or bad. And that principle applies not just to this life, but to, past lives. So whatever you may do an hour ago is a creation. So creation means an action, right? So whatever you did, let's say an hour ago, is literally a creation that generates a reaction, and that reaction is the state of being that you find yourself in. So that can be on a small scale, like, whatever. Let's say you stole something an hour ago and then the cops found out, and so you made a creation that generated a state of being which consists of, let's say, being in jail now, for example. But on a larger scale of things, it could also mean the very body that you have, the physical body that you're in right now, that state of being that you're in, the body that you as a soul are in, is literally a reaction or a result of the creation that you generated in the past life, the result of it, right? That's why Led Zeppelin wrote this beautiful song, which especially has these really cool lyrics. It's nobody's fault but mine. It's nobody's fault but mine. So karma literally means, you reap what you sow. And I love this description of Krishna, a creation that generates a being state of being. And that's termed karma. Allez, dites bonjour. So what does that mean for you, or that means for us? That means that when you find yourself in a situation where you've done everything you could to, let's say, avoid a problem, or vice versa, whatever is there as a sort of an unavoidable result, that's your karma. That's something that you did in a past life. So instead of lamenting and blaming others, and I'm talking to myself here because it's so easy to blame others. Instead of blaming others, you should remember this, this wonderful lesson. Do not get angry with the instrument of your karma. Do not get angry with the instruments of your karma. Because whatever we're, suffering from in this life, we did it to ourselves in a past life or in this life. Because remember, the creation that generates a being's state of being is called karma. And similarly, if there's good things that happen in our life, then we have to sort of like take a humble attitude and say, okay, I may deserve it because I must have done some sort of, good stuff in a past life. Like, for example, I have a friend on Instagram, and she's like extremely beautiful. She's like drop dead gorgeous. And she posted a picture of her face, and she's just like this just beautiful face, right? and a beautiful person too. And so I told her, like, hey, I don't know what you did in your past life, you know, specifically, but if the law of karma and reincarnation is a reality, then that means you must have, it follows that you must have done like a lot of, you know, you must have opened up a lot of schools, or you must have, like, you know, given a lot of charity, or you must have helped a lot of old ladies cross the street to deserve, you know, for example, you know, a beautiful body, a beautiful face in this life. And funny enough, that very same, like an hour later after I made that post, it never happens to me, but this old lady was trying to cross the street and she was like, excuse me, monsieur, can you help me cross the street? So I helped this old lady cross the street. One last thing I want to tell you. Ultimately, I believe that all karma is bad karma, even the so-called good one. Why? Because any type of karma forces us to reincarnate. And by definition, this reincarnation cycle that we're in, if you believe in reincarnation, sucks. Because each time you gotta grow old, get some sort of disease or many diseases, and then die. And then do it again and again and again and again. And all the relationships, all the love, all the exchanges that you've developed in one life are interrupted by death, and then you gotta start over with some other relations in the next life. Nothing's eternal down here. And therefore it's a pain in the you know what to be in this cycle of birth and death. And the only thing that keeps us in this birth cycle is karma. So better live a life dedicated to God, in God consciousness, regardless of whatever you're doing in life, and in that way have the hope that by God's grace we can die and never take birth again and get free of karma once and for all and live with God eternally. That sounds good to me, at least, and it should sound good to all of us. Thanks for watching. See you next time. I'm not filming you, I promise you, man. Say something to my YouTube followers. Say something. Come on, in English.
Krishna Kirtana Gana Natana Pano Premamrita